Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackman.
Standing from the end zone, he throws, and it's deflected away, and it is picked off by Will Blackman, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackman for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Welcome to a special episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can see me on FS1. You can read me on Bleacher Report. You can follow me on Twitter at Rick Bucher and on Instagram at Rick_Bucher. He is Will Blackman. You can see him on Sky Sports if you have a way of seeing Sky Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Will Blackman, NFL vet, Super Bowl champ. And he comes to us live from London. And you were just telling me about that you've been there for your first weekend of games. And we are recording this, and I'm guessing this is about 11 p.m. or so your time. Is that correct?
It's almost 12.
It's almost 12, so it's almost midnight. And yet, based on the work schedule that you've had covering the NFL, this is actually early. This is actually early. This is late.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'll work Sundays at Sky Sports, and we'll cover the games that are on the noon games. So the noon games for there is like night games for us.
Right.
So, and then I catch the Patriot game came on at like 1 o'clock. No, not Patriot game. Yeah, the Patriot game came out at like 1 o'clock, or even yesterday the New Orleans game came on.
Do you know where you are right now?
I have no idea where I am. I am so delirious. It's not even funny. So then I go to sleep at then the Raider game came on at like 3 a.m. I'm like, dude, how the heck do they do it out here?
Yeah. How do they do it out there? They have the NFL, they have Game Pass, and they catch up on it. Okay. And so to that end, so how are you? Give me your kind of how are you working with this? What's your schedule? Do you have crazy hours on the weekends for the games, and then you go back to a normal schedule, or how are you doing this?
I do a couple times a week. I have today Wednesday was like inside the huddle and like a cool podcast, but digital show. Okay. Sunday is an 8-hour grind. We are literally covering like every game that goes on.
All right. So with that, what's the biggest? I'm far more fascinated by you adapting to London and this crazy schedule, and what the fan base is like over there. What your interaction is with sports fans, how many football fans there are, whether you're kind of like working in this bubble that's, I don't know. I'm really curious.
It's a bubble. No, it's a bubble. I haven't really been out there and meeting people because there haven't been any games over here yet. Where I work at Sky Sports, the cool thing is those guys know their knowledge. You know, they're not messing around, but I haven't really gotten around to meeting a ton of people. I actually went to the NFL UK launch party that was at Tottenham Spurs' new stadium, which is ridiculous. Yeah. That thing. Oh my God. I was like, I'm suiting up.
You froze. So just start with that thing. Just start with that thing that's where you broke.
Yeah. I got the old Wi-Fi here in London.
Yeah, no worries.
That thing was nice. I mean, gosh, I was ready to suit up and go play ball. It was because they had the lights on dim. They set the mood.
Really? So compare it to the best football. What's the best football stadium in your mind? Like the one that just you felt like you were playing, sort of like the Madison Square Garden experience when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, I mean Dallas is nice. Dallas is nice because it's huge. Arizona is cool. Like there are some really nice stadiums, but man, this one here,
this was better than any of those.
Yeah, Yeah, and plus, if I see grass on the
Yes.
field, when I see grass, that just makes my day.
It's not only grass, and I'm sure that they do a great job of the upkeep and having good turf in football fields, but for soccer pitches, it's like a pool table. Like the grass is just perfect. It's manicured. You just and it needs to be, because you want the ball to be true, and you don't want any discrepancies. But they really the art of the soccer pitch and having that grass just right with Bermuda grass or whatever it is really is impressive. All right, so we are past week 1. We're not going to get into. I do.
No, we're not.
What? Yeah, we are. We have to. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about AB on some level.
Gosh.
First of all, how are you feeling? Because you got into a bit of a Twitter jam, shall I say? I don't know how to define it, but you put out there that you didn't think AB was going to play again after
I didn't think he would.
Yeah,
I did not think he would. I honestly did not think he would. Which is valid.
Which is a fair take. I mean, there's nothing wrong with thinking that. You're going to get. Let me introduce you to something, my friend.
Here's what skewed my opinion.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, damn, I thought it was gonna be tough. And then I actually had a couple of conversations with some GMs in the NFL, or not GMs, but more like guys in the personnel department, like higher up. And they were like, I don't see this guy play ever again. So I was like, damn, dude, you might be right.
Right.
You might be right.
So here's the thing. So you had an informed decision. You made an informed speculation, let's say. Informed speculation.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's fair.
This reminds me, look, I had Kobe tell me directly, not for attribution, but off the record, I'm not playing for the Lakers again. When he wanted to be traded to the Bulls, or he wanted them to get Jerry West back or whatever that was. And I said, well, what if they call your bluff? Like, what if they don't trade you? What if they just make you sit? He goes, I'm not playing for them again. So I wasn't going to report that because it was still just him. And I knew it was kind of an emotional situation. And even as adamant as he was, but I got stuck when I gave my report, and then they asked Neil Everett. I'll never forget. Neil Everett said, "So what do you think he's going to do?" And I made the mistake of saying, "I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play for the Lakers again." Now that was what I thought. It wasn't what I was reporting, but it came right on the heels of me reporting what I knew.
But that's my point too, is like, that's what I thought, especially for me.
Right.
12 years of experience.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of stuff go down.
And the reality is, with some of the legal issues that are coming down, you may not be that far off on the whole picture. So, and again, I will say this, and it's not to make light of any of the allegations, but the timing always makes me suspicious. It just, it makes me super suspicious that someone isn't trying to exploit the situation. And not to say that it didn't happen, but like what's going on? I don't want to discuss that aspect of it anymore. Here's the number one question that I have, and I don't know whether your guys, and you're talking to people, you found this out. And I posed this in the last podcast. The question that nobody has answered, and the question that I think is most pertinent to this whole situation, and I don't even know that anybody's even chasing it, is what made Antonio Brown decide that he didn't want to be a Laker anymore? Because
you mean Kobe?
No, no. What? I screwed it all up. What made Antonio Brown decide he didn't want to be a Raider anymore? Because when he first got there, if he had any issues with the fact that the Raiders had traded for him, none of that was expressed at the jump. There was no indication that he was unhappy that he was there. At some point, something changed. And I don't know what it was. And I want to know, because if it was something legitimate, then I'm all with a player who has a power and ability to get himself out of a certain situation and go on to the next one. I'm all for that. But I need to know that it wasn't just because he got upset that Mike Mayock fined him because he broke a team rule, and that's what made him decide, oh, this isn't for me. That it's something a little deeper than that. Like either the relationship with John Gruden wasn't what it was, or it was like, oh, Derek Carr's not as good as Big Ben, or whatever. This offense isn't what I thought it was going to be, and I'm not going to be well served playing here. If it's something like that, I have no problem with him saying, I know New England wants me. I know Tom Brady's a better quarterback. I know Bill Belichick's a better head coach. Like, if they're still willing to take me, let me find a way to get out of this situation. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the circus. But if it was just like it was just Antonio Brown being crazy, then or it's lack of maturity, that's a whole different thing. And that's why that's what I want to know. And I don't know if you've talked to anybody that's given you an inkling, but I haven't seen anything I haven't seen anybody who's even said that's like what happened. It's not even being discussed, and something must have happened.
Well, it seems very suspicious. Here's what made me suspicious was AB's reaction when he got released. I mean, the guy jumped out of his chair.
Yeah.
Screaming, yelling, running around his backyard. And then he called his grandma. Now, when you call grandma, you got some good news.
Yeah.
And he's like, Grandma, I'm free. I'm free. They freed me, Grandma. I'm free. I'm free. It's like the only way you can be excited to be released from a team and turn down $31 million is because you already had something lined up.
Right.
And that's kind of what I feel. I know Drew Rosenhaus denies it a lot, but it's the truth.
There's no way that he worked his way out of that situation without knowing that he had a landing place. Drew has a good relationship with Kraft. And, yes.
And the Patriots, he used to represent Gronk.
Don't insult our intelligence. If anybody thinks that wasn't premeditated or set up, New England had already expressed an interest. They tried to trade for him from the Steelers, according to reports.
Yeah, no, this was a plan.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the plan all along. Like I don't believe that when he got there, and there's even people that he did the cryotherapy, burned his feet. By the way, I got some intel on that. Like he went into the cryotherapy with wet socks.
That's dumb. You're not supposed to be wet, period.
I mean, you're asking for something.
That's cryo 101.
That's cryo 101. We've discussed this at length, by the way, with Ryan.
Yeah,
Hollins.
that I'm never doing cryo. So
that you don't do cold therapy.
No,
he's actually not a cryo guy either. He's a cold tub guy.
He's just a guy.
He's that I felt that shot hit Ryan, ricocheted to me, and went back to Ryan again. And it was so forceful that when it ricocheted from him to me, it was still lethal. He's just a guy.
My gosh. You're so extra. Easy. It's midnight over here, all right? Take it easy.
I'm just trying to keep you pumped and alive right now.
That's tough. That is tough.
I can tell you.
I'm alive and excited and ready to do this. It's been a while. I'm excited, but man.
Okay, so, and I really, and I know our listeners do too, appreciate you going the extra mile to continue to do this once a week from over in London. Hopefully this isn't going to dissuade you for the way you're feeling right now to continue on. But I do want to get your feelings about the Texans Saints game. If you were still awake for that one going through Monday. And well, let's say the Texans Saints, and I do want to get the Raiders Broncos, because both of those are chock full. And whatever other game on Sunday that really caught your attention or that you thought was meaningful. Because I think it was, we both know, first month of the season, don't make too much of anything. Like, let's see where everybody is going into October.
Right. Let's not react.
Exactly. But I do.
Two things.
But there was a lot of interesting things that happened this weekend. Obviously the Browns looking like no one was ever going to stop them ever on the first drive. Like they didn't have a third down. Like they mowed their way into the end zone. And then it turns out to be a route going the other way. I want to get to that, but I do want to get your, again, not overreacting to too much, but the Saints game and the way that it ended. First of all, how much do you put on the Texans defense and how much do you put on just the brilliance of Drew Brees and being in the dome for your kicker? Like if you gave out percentages on those three things, and you can add whatever else you think is pertinent, but those three things, your kicker in your own dome, in the dome, Drew Brees, and the Texans' defensive approach on that last 37 seconds. How do you give what do you give to each one of those for what ultimately transpired?
Well, it's interesting. I want to go to the Browns game, and
you're just going to skip the Saints Texans and go to the Browns game.
Well, because after the Saints game,
just answer the Texans Saints game, and then we can go to the Browns. Answer this one question, and then we'll go on to that.
I think what transpired was, I think Deshaun Watson put himself in the conversation where he is one of those elite quarterbacks that can carry his team and give his team a chance no matter what. I put a list out the other day on Twitter of like quarterbacks that I thought that like they separate themselves in that category where they can definitely take their team and bring them there. And Deshaun Watson is that guy. Drew Brees, the hard thing about playing Drew Brees is like he's so every year he finishes completion percentage about 70%. And I mean, and that's unbelievable, like unbelievably accurate. And it's just impressive to watch that. That's what makes it very, very hard. I thought the Texans could have done a better job in terms of pass rush. And obviously you saw the difference when they traded Clowney. JJ Watt was nowhere to be found really.
Yep. To
get pressure on Drew Brees. Overall, I think he just, Ted Ginn had over 100. Michael Thomas had over 100. Kamara had over 100 from the line of from scrimmage yards, like 97 rushing, like 60 receiving.
Yeah.
Drew Brees got the ball around everybody, and it was just too much. And then what's interesting is like the last drive, the last play. I mean, they just had to like. In terms of the Texans, they just had to like press them, play press man. And for some reason, the cornerback, the nickel, was playing off. Yeah. And that just allowed them to get a couple more yards. Yep. And all they had to do was kick the field goal. And unfortunately, the corner that caught the football on was Aaron Colvin, the guy they just signed, I think last year or a year before, and they released him. They ended up releasing that cornerback.
Right after the game?
Right after the game. Yeah.
That's tough.
They paid him a bunch of money too.
That's tough.
He got like 18 guarantee, and they own him 7.5 this year. No, he will see the 7.5, so that's a good thing. But it's tough,
How much is that a reaction to that one game, and how much is it? There must be other stuff that they were unhappy with.
How much of a reaction in general?
Yeah, I mean, when a guy gets released like that after a play or performance, do they knee-jerk react quickly in the NFL?
You know what though? They don't have a GM, so we don't know what's going on over there.
Well,
in Houston, they don't have a GM. They're just doing all kinds of crazy things right now.
Before we go to the Browns, the deals that Bill O'Brien made at the end, where we stand right now, are they a better team than they were before he made those deals?
I think they're a better team offensively.
Okay, overall. Because we're talking about talent across the board. Are they better?
I would say offensively, because Kenny Stills is a good receiver. And the fact they got Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, offensively they are. Defensively, they made a lot of mistakes. They definitely put themselves in position to win the game, but they made too many mistakes.
All right. Cleveland game.
I am off the Brown train. I jumped off.
What caused you, and what is it that has you thinking? It has you a non-believer.
I jumped off because I do not trust Freddie Kitchens.
Bingo.
I do not
Bingo.
trust him. There is nothing. I don't know anything about him in terms of him getting the head coaching job. I don't trust him. And the biggest thing is like the team discipline. They had so many penalties
Yep.
in the game. It's like, yo, like what is, I mean, the craziest things. And then they had like an ejection because the starting left tackle decided to kick somebody in the face. It's like, what is going on here? Like it's just, it was crazy. So and that's funny because that's what I talked about going into the season. It was like, they look phenomenal on paper. They look great versus, whoever on paper.
It's a whole other animal when you have to coach talent. Like,
but that's what I'm saying though.
It takes a different kind of coach to coach talent.
Right. It's like, what is the culture like?
Yeah. Well,
is the culture ran by the players or is the culture ran by the coach?
Right. And do you have a big enough presence, resume, personality to be able to handle the big personalities and stars that you're going to have on your roster, which with no question they have. I mean, Baker Mayfield's not just a really good young quarterback. He's also a big personality. OBJ is a big personality. Like and so they've added talent, but that was my whole thing. Is Freddie Kitchens seasoned enough, overall just good enough as a head coach to be able to make the most of that talent? Because now there's an expectation. It's totally different when you're like your last year's Browns. There's no expectation. You don't know what Baker Mayfield's going to be, and you still got holes. So there's that's a different coaching challenge. That's tough. Yeah, no, it is, and ultimately, the GM has to get that right. You have to know that if I'm putting together this kind of roster, then I need this kind of guy to run it.
Because I'm sure Freddie's cool, and it's a difference. I mean, you can get along with players, but you can't be like their homeboy.
Right.
I feel like he gets along with guys. He's a player's coach, but you gotta also walk in that room and have some kind of respect.
Yeah.
And command it.
Well,
and you know what I'm saying. And I don't know. Like I said, there was all kinds of things that were uncharacteristic of that team. And also too the offensive line, they got to shore that up. So that was tough to watch. But let's give credit though to the Titans. They have a veteran defense, and they're coached by a man, Mike Vrabel, who has seen what it looks like, and he is a guy who commands respect.
Right.
And they walked in there and they weren't worried about a damn thing. They were like, they knew they were going to run through Cleveland. They just knew it. I talked to a bunch of people and they just knew it. They knew that they were going to go in Cleveland, and Cleveland was like basically overlooked them because even Baker was popping a little bit before the game.
Mm-hmm. I believe you were very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars, or you still are. Obviously,
what?
Losing Foles hurts.
Losing Foles hurts. However, Gardner Minshew, this dude from Washington State, he's a character. But he led the nation. He's second in passing in the nation last year behind Haskins. In college, and he came from Mike Leach, the air raid. And at one point in the game when he came in, he was 22 for 22.
So with that in mind, and this is going to sound a little crazy considering who won, who impressed you more, Lamar Jackson with the Ravens or Minshew with the Jags?
Oh, Lamar. Yeah. I mean,
did he surprise? He impressed you. Did he surprise you?
He impressed me. He impressed me. Minshew, he didn't. They both impressed me. I knew what Minshew could do, but it was surprising the fact that he came in. He was just so comfortable, especially nowadays, man. I feel like quarterback, that position has become easier because defenses aren't as smart anymore. It's getting easier and easier for these quarterbacks. These guys, these quarterbacks turn around just play and catch. They just turn around, throw it 3 yards, throw it 5 yards. They're just playing catch.
Yeah.
And these defenders are just not there. These defenders are athletic, they're fast, but I just don't feel like guys are investing the time mentally to understand a game. And that's why I go back to the Titans. When you look at their secondary, you got Kevin Byard who got paid. He's a veteran, all-pro, first team. You got Kenny Vaccaro, who's a veteran. You got Logan Ryan, who's a veteran. You got Malcolm Butler, who's a veteran. You got Dory Jackson, who, he's getting older. He's still young, but I guess you can call him a veteran. And all these guys studied, and they weren't worried about Jarvis or OBJ or Baker. They weren't worried about that stuff.
Yeah. So how much do you, what do you take? Are there any negatives that you take away from the Jags?
The only negative is I still feel like they keep underachieving because they're not disciplined on defense.
Yeah.
Like their starting linebacker got thrown out the game.
Mm-hmm.
What
are
you
punch
doing?
Right in front of the
throwing a punch. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you got body slammed, so you get up and you want to get all mad and get in people's faces and catch an attitude. Like, that's crazy to me.
I agree. The Miami Dolphins basically look like they're tanking. By all indications, they're tanking.
Here's the thing with that. So I always want to know, like, what's the difference between tanking and rebuilding? From my experience, when you get a new head coach, you get a whole new regime. You basically inherit a team.
Yeah. You
did not handpick one single person on this team. So therefore, everybody's under evaluation.
Right.
So if this is not what you look like, then you gotta go through a process, make trades, make releases. These aren't the guys that you truly want. So you can see, no matter how talented they are, that's not who you want. So I feel like they're going through that whole process. Keep in mind, Coach Brian Flores has been given a 5-year deal.
Right.
5-year deal to make this thing right. And I just feel like that's what's going on. They're like, okay, you can go ahead and do whatever you got to do. We're going to make moves. And if you're going to be an issue, if you don't buy in, if you're not part of our plan, if we don't see you there, then we're going to move on.
Right. What's funny to me is that they're so resolute in denying what they're doing. And whether it's rebuilding or tanking or however whatever word you want to use, I feel like tanking used to be a taboo word. But
it is, though. Here's the thing.
What?
I don't understand the whole tanking part, especially too. That report came out. These players were so upset that 20 players requested a trade.
I saw that. Yeah. Do you buy? First of all, do you really believe that? You believe 20 guys marched in?
I believe it because nowadays, when it gets difficult, people want to run. When it gets difficult, people want to get trades. They want to go to different teams. They want to see the grass is green on the other side instead of like sticking it through and trying to make it better. Like just the fact that these guys got their asses whooped and now they want to go trade somewhere else because they think the culture is bad. Well, guess who's the culture? The culture are the players.
Right.
It's like I watched the film. They're tackling like crap. These guys are getting bad reads. Safety's jumping in the box, leaving guys wide open. Guys are playing bad technique. No one's helping each other. No one's communicating. Like it's crazy when it's like, oh, we'll lose so much. I was in Jacksonville in 2013, and right out the gate, we lost 8 straight games. 8 straight. But we just kept going to work, kept fighting, and eventually we got that win. We won I think we won like a 3-game winning streak or something like that. We kept going, but you just had to stick with it. And plus, this is your resume. What if you do get released?
Yeah.
But and they see on film that you're out there loafing and playing like crap and not doing anything. Well, they're not going to want to pick you up again unless only person I can see is like Rashad Jones because he was a Pro Bowler. For him to go ahead and get picked up by somebody. But you just got to step up and be part of the solution. You never know. This is your chance. Don't sit there and come like, oh, we're just tanking. We don't want to do this, or they're changing the culture. Be part of it.
Agreed. Agreed. No, it's the idea that 20 guys walked in after they lost, and that's when they asked for a trade. If you're in training camp and you see that, hey, this is going to be a rebuilding situation, and you're thinking, I only got so much time, and like an Antonio Brown, you think you have another landing spot. I'm all for you saying there's a better situation out there for me. I'm sure you went through kind of similar with, hey, where do I stand with this team? and if you had interest from someplace else. And that's part of the business. But this is not that. And I would think that those 20 guys, I don't know that I want them. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try to trade you because I'm
That's what I'm saying. You made it easier. You made it easier for the team to trade you.
Yeah. If I had any doubts.
It's such a slap in the face, man. There are guys there bust their ass to get in that league, and then you have an opportunity, and because you played like crap in the game that you want to leave. You can say whatever you want. A coach can make any single call on the field. You still gotta make it work. It doesn't matter. Like they would say the best play is the play we're running right now. If it's 3rd and 15 and you want to run cover 0, then it's the wrong call, but you got to play cover 0. You got to make it work. Right. Because you still got to play your technique. You still got to get off. You still got to beat a block. You still got to be in position. You still got to break at the right angle. That's football across the board. Well,
and you still can make it work. Even if you don't think it's the ideal in that situation. There's a way to make it work.
Yeah, you can try to make it work. Right.
All right. One last thing before I let you go, and you can get some rest and rest up for your next run with Sky Sports and then here on the podcast. Team USA in the World Cup basketball lost to France. Knocked out. They're not going to medal now. Is you being over in Europe? I'm just curious. Did you get any feel, any reaction, any indication that anybody over there cares?
Hell no.
You know what? Same with me here in the U.S.
They watch rugby, cricket, and soccer. They don't give a damn about no basketball out here.
Same here in the U.S.
Even still, I bet. Yeah. I bet no one does because people on Twitter are talking trash about that team right now.
Yeah, which also is stupid. Because you're going to talk trash about the guys that were willing to take on this challenge. They were willing to spend their summer trying to get it done.
Yeah, they were willing to go on a free trip to Europe.
Oh, come on, dude. They can go on trips to Europe. They don't have to go through this
together. Everything's taken care of together. They like being pampered and spoiled. That's all this was. This was a Euro trip.
All right. Well, speaking of Euro trips, it doesn't look like, based on what I'm seeing in the background, that you're slumming it exactly. So I get the sense that they're taking care of you in London.
They're paying for my place.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Free trip. Another, not beyond free trip. Everything taken care of, and he's getting paid.
This is a job. This is my job. This is a job right now. Well, and this was not a volunteer.
All right. Now, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there because you're obviously fatigued. I'm going to take this up with Ryan Hollins, the guy who's just a guy. That does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackman, coming to you live from, well, not just bi-coastal. We are transcontinental.
We are global. Yeah, transcontinental.
That's exactly right. Don't forget, we love it when you give us a review and let us know how we're doing. Please do that at iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. And then if you want us to do something for you, screenshot that review and send it to @BucherFriends, and you will be eligible for some prizes. In the next podcast, Ryan Hollins will be joining me, and we will get into the Team USA loss to France and what that means for Greg Popovich, for the players on that team, the performances. I can tell you one thing, was not a surprise to me. Was it a surprise to Ryan? We'll find out. In the meantime, as always, thanks for listening.